Thank you, Dean Irvine, for your kind introduction. First of all, please allow me to extend to every one of you my cordial welcome to this evening's celebratory dinner, and to express thanks to Professor Stalling and Professor Zhu Ping for taking the lead in planning and organizing this year's Newman Prize event, and to acknowledge the excellent assistance of my colleagues Beth Young and Stephanie Sager for making everything happen tonight. Please join me and give them a round of applause. Established in August 2006, the Institute for U.S.-China Issues at the University of Oklahoma engages in research and outreach activities that seek to better understand and improve U.S.-China relations and promote China studies in the state of Oklahoma. Currently, the Institute is in transition and focuses on two major programs. The first is the speaker series, which is referred to by our dean a moment ago, and through this series, the Institute brings to OU policy experts and practitioners to discuss pressing issues in U.S.-China relations. For instance, over the past year or so, the Institute has hosted a set of leading experts from prominent institutions, such as the Middlebury Institute of International Studies, Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, the Rand Corporation, Boston University, Center for Strategic and International Studies, to discuss the North Korean challenge, trade, security in U.S.-China relations, and the implications of China's rise in the global financial system and its drive toward innovation for the United States. The second major program the Institute sponsors is the Newman Prize for Chinese Literature, which is awarded every other year in recognition of outstanding prose or poetry written in Chinese. It's the first major award for Chinese literature in the English-speaking world. It is awarded biannually in recognition of outstanding achievement in prose or poetry that best captures the human condition, and is conferred solely on the basis of literary merit. Any living author writing in Chinese, residing anywhere, is eligible. The prize consists of $10,000 and a plaque, and may serve to crown a lifetime's achievement, or to direct attention to the developing body of work. Each award year, an international jury of distinguished experts nominate candidates and come together to select the winner based on a transparent voting process. The nominees for this year included many of China's most well-known and beloved poets, including Yu Xiuhua, Wang Xiaoning, Xi Chuan, Xiao Kaiyu, Zheng Xiaoqiong, etc. Of course, this year's winner, Xi. This year's winner, Xi, is truly a living treasure, truly a living treasure, beloved by readers in Hong Kong and far beyond. And I, like all of you, am eager to hear her acceptance speech tonight. However, before we get there, I'm honored to introduce someone whose generous support and endowment for a chair at the University of Oklahoma enabled the creation of the OU Institute for U.S.-China Issues. A graduate of OU, Mr. Newman has had a very successful career that spans across government, industry, and nonprofit. Initially trained at OU as a geographer from the University of Oklahoma. He also earned his MA from the School of South Asian Studies, University of Pennsylvania, and his MBA from Harvard Business School. He served in the U.S. Army in strategic intelligence from 1953 and 55. After his service, he embarked on a long and successful career in business. He was later partner and managing director at Neuberger Berman for more than 33 years. He's co-founder and partner of H.J. Newman Capital, LLC, and director of Fannie and John Hertz Foundation. In addition to making a difference in the private sector, Mr. Newman loves international affairs. This is manifested by his role as a trustee and chair of the investment committee of the Asian Society and an active member on the Chairman's Council at the New York Historical Society. Additionally, Mr. Newman also serves as a member of the International Program Center Board of Visitors and the board's Planning and Development Committee for the Institute of U.S.-China Issues. There's a saying in Chinese, when drinking water, one should not forget those who dug the well. As we celebrate tonight's Newman Prize, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a distinct pleasure and honor to invite Mr. Newman to reflect on the Newman Prize and his decision to found the institute at the University of Oklahoma. Please join me and welcome Mr. Newman.
I do this for sympathy. In case I fail in my little speech. I made a couple of very good decisions. The decisions that I made earlier I knew who I was following in terms of making the speeches, and they were much more qualified than I am to talk about the school and what they provide for here for the education. So rather than going into that, for the last day and a half, I have been uniquely honored to be in the presence of Xi. We saw last night a documentary on her career. It's something that would be fiction if it was written, and if it wasn't real. The extent of her influence on so many members of the community in prose and poetry in Taiwan and in mainland China is extraordinary. And in looking at the documentary and meeting her and recognizing that after winning the prize on her own, I had nothing to do with that prize, and justifiably so. In just spending a few moments with them and listening to her and seeing her smile and the reality of that person, I feel how honored I was, and it came home to me, as it doesn't very often in life's experiences, to find someone that is so gratifying for what you're trying to do in one way or another. Xi was offered a major prize by Singapore, and she didn't accept it because it was too far to travel. She traveled on Wednesday from Hong Kong to Los Angeles to Norman at the age of 81 or 82. We're not really sure about I don't know how sure she is, but I know that I'm not sure. And so it's made a great impression on me for meeting a person that I, in a sense, fell in love with. And when I met her tonight, hopefully it was consensual. I kissed her on the head, you know, the day and age that we live in, you're never sure about anything. So I'm not making any talks about or presenting any words based upon the Institute for U.S.-China Issues. What the university does in large measure present the opportunities for the students many of whom are here tonight. But for myself, having the opportunities to spend with a woman who was responsible for mentoring the first prize that we gave out to Mo Yan. That was one of her mentees in one degree or another. It was, and he won the Nobel Prize 2 years after we gave him a prize here. And I had a friend of mine, just in passing, I think about it, John Whitehead, who we were partners. We were at Goldman Sachs 60 years ago or more. And when the prize was given out for Mo Yan and it appeared in the New York Times, he called me and he said, "So is it true that I have to win the Newman Prize in order to be considered for a Nobel Prize?" And I told him he better act quickly, because at that time it was already 89 or so. It was 85 when that happened. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the details, but on the influence of one person who is here tonight, on the careers of so many who are accomplished. And it makes me feel very honored for having her here, for choosing to come here on a very difficult trip. This is the first time she has ever read, if I'm right, her own poems. And she said, and it's the last time, because she really doesn't want to do that. She wants to sense things and feel things and bring herself and her personality and her life to living, to those who are around her. And for that, I am very grateful. Thank you.